Hey and welcome back to NBA Got Game TV. Thanks for tuning in, guys. The NBA All-Star Games are a great and fun experience and also a great cool-off for every NBA fan. That is, once the NBA players start to play defense again, of course. Every few years, you sometimes see selections that make you scratch your head and make you wonder why the coach selected that specific player, when you feel that there are far better players out there. This is nothing new and has always been there. So in this video, we will feature players that surprisingly made the All-Star team at a time when you probably thought, okay, there are some players that actually deserved it a little bit more. And just to be clear, we're happy for every player that made the All-Star team. And having said that, before we start with the video, please subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. Also underneath you will find the link to a new Facebook page. And without any more blah blah, let's go. We're gonna start off our list with Dana Barros. Dana Barros played from 1989 to 2004 in the NBA. Playing his first 4 seasons for the Seattle Supersonics, Dana was a solid backup point guard to Gary Payton. In 1993, he got traded to the Philadelphia 76ers, which were in the rebuilding process at that time, and simply hoping to get some good draft picks in the next few years. Giving Dana the opportunity to start in 70 games in his first season with the 76ers, he averaged almost 14 points a game as well as 5 assists. The following season, the 76ers simply had one of the worst rosters in their franchise history. Dana suddenly played over 40 minutes a game and therefore increased his scoring average to 20 points per game. He was awarded by being invited to the All-Star game by coach Brian Hill from the Orlando Magic, who had a couple of interesting choices, by the way, which we will see later. After this season, Dana was traded to the Boston Celtics, where he again came from the bench and averaged 12 points per game. For his remaining 7 seasons in the NBA, he would average 9 points per game and never even come close to being an NBA All-Star. But still, there will be one player who will never ever forget Dana Barros. Let's ask Kenny Smith.
Dana Barros. He just got rolling for some reason when he saw my face. And so, rolling. So he had his career high. He had 50 points against us. Houston. We were up like 17.
Us or me?
No, on me. No, wait. But no.
Just 48 on
The best part about it. The best part about it is when Sam Cassell came to the team. He didn't know I had trouble with Dana Barros. So, first 2 or 3 plays, he get it rolling. Boom, boom. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get these 2 fouls.
Right.
It's not coming in. So then, Sam, so soon, oh, foul shaving. We up. I'm like, I'm not getting the business. So then all of a sudden he's still hot. He hits like 3 or 4 more. Boom. So screaming on the bench. Why you get him rolling? And I'm like, it's all you, baby. It's all you. So at the end of the game, he had 50. So Sam's like, they're doing the reporters. He's like, well, Kenny had 21 and I had 25. So we basically had 52. So it's even, it's a wash. But Dana Barros was that guy.
The next player on our list is Chris Gatlin. Chris Gatlin played in the NBA from 1991 to 2001 and was drafted by the Golden State Warriors. In his earlier career, he was most known for 2 things. First, being injured a lot, and second, for his great pump fakes. He really had a roller coaster career, averaging 9.5 points per game in his first 5 seasons. He then got traded to the Dallas Mavericks in 1996, where he suddenly increased his average to 19 points per game. The crazy part about this, though, was that he wasn't even starting on his team. He only played 27 minutes per game, but because of the high field goal percentage that he had, he made the most out of his minutes. Right after the All-Star game, Gatlin injured himself and only played 3 more games for the remainder of the season. For the rest of his career, he never averaged anything close to 19 points and battled many injuries, which resulted in him hardly making more than 60 games a season. The next player on our list is Kevin Duckworth. The late great Kevin Duckworth played in the NBA from 1986 to 1996. After the Portland Trailblazers realized that Sam Bowie would not be the most reliable center for the future, they traded for Kevin Duckworth in 1987. Until then, Kevin performed under average numbers and was fighting to stay in the league. In 1988, center Sam Bowie had to sit out the season, which made Kevin the starting center. He played on a really talented team with great passes and often found himself finishing the passes of Terry Porter, who averaged over 10 assists per game in that season. In 1989, he averaged 18 points and 8 rebounds and was invited to the All-Star game. The next 2 seasons, his stats dropped in every single major category, which still didn't prevent him from being invited to the All-Star game in 1991, averaging 15 points and 6 rebounds. The next 6 years of his career, he averaged 7 points per game and would never be invited to the All-Star game again. Next, we have B.J. Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong played from 1989 to 1999 and was mostly known for his time with the Chicago Bulls. This right here is a strange nominee for us because I actually was a great B.J. Armstrong fan back in the days, but we gotta stay objective here. When B.J. played with the Chicago Bulls in his first years of his career, he first was the backup point guard to John Paxson, before becoming the starting guard in 1993. B.J. was a solid shooter and a pretty good defender, but never blessed with the talents of a true point guard, never averaging more than 4.9 assists per game in his entire career. B.J. was voted into the All-Star game by the fans in 1994, having the second most votes of the Eastern Conference players. In that season, he almost averaged 15 points and 3 assists per game. This was actually his best season of his career. The following years, B.J. played on a couple of teams, always being the number 2 guard.
Shaq has added to his resume by being elected to start at center for the East in the upcoming All-Star game in Minneapolis. The 7'1" second-year sensation has successfully avoided the sophomore jinx and was his conference's leading vote-getter when the polls closed. O'Neal will be joined by a pair of Chicago Bulls. Scottie Pippen's making his 4th appearance, while B.J. Armstrong makes his first.
Anything that you achieve individually is a result of what we achieve collectively, and that's my attitude.
The next player on our list is Tyrone Hill. Tyrone Hill played from 1990 to 2003 and was drafted by the Golden State Warriors. In his first 3 years with the Warriors, Tyrone found himself in and out of the starting lineup, not finding his true position, always getting pushed from the center to the power forward spot. In 1994, when playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tyrone finally had the starting spot on the roster and had his best season yet, averaging almost 14 points and 10 boards per game. This convinced Magic's coach Brian Hill so much that he invited Tyrone Hill to the All-Star game. Hill was a great worker and a fighter in his career, but this season was by far his best, and was followed by a 7.8 points per game season, only starting in 2 games. The rest of his career, he concentrated more on doing the dirty work for his team than putting up All-Star numbers. And the last player on our list is Mark Eaton.
At 7'4", making his All-Star debut from the Utah Jazz, center Mark Eaton.
Magic down the alley, crashes in, goes to Green, blocked by Eaton, picks up on Magic, blocked by Eaton. Oh baby, big Mark everywhere. Underneath Elijah Wan, blocked by Eaton. What a play by Big Mark. Here's Jabbar, low left, good position, little turnaround jumper, blocked by Eaton. What a great play by Big Mark. Jordan to the middle, blocked by Eaton. Big Mark, nice block. I tell you, Eaton is everywhere. Down low to Barkley, Eaton blocks and grabs it out the hill. What a play by Eaton. Big Mark cuts down the middle, they got him underneath, puts it up and in. Back to Mark, cuts the lane, hook it up and in. The big fellow moving like a little guy. Eaton grabs it. Mark hands it in. Mark Eaton. What a play by the big fella. 4 seconds for a shot. 3, 2. Back to Mark Eaton. Takes that.
It's good.
He won it.
I
The big fella. Mark Eaton. Oh, baby.
Mark Eaton with career high 26.
Mark Eaton played in the NBA from 1982 until 1992 for the Utah Jazz. Never being a player that was considered to be an offensive weapon, Eaton was great at one thing: blocking shots. Averaging 5.6 blocks in 1984, Eaton is the Utah Jazz's all-time leading shot blocker even until today. In 1989, he made his first and only All-Star appearance, averaging 6 points, 10 rebounds, and 3.8 blocks per game. By then he was heading towards the end of his career and followed that year with 4.8 points per game and 7 boards the following season. Still, Ethan is proud until today to have made the All-Star team. And you know what? We're happy for him.